So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our Excel Leads AG5 webinar today. Before we kick things off, we do have a quick poll that we would like you to answer. So if I can have that up, lovely. Thank you, Larissa, who's working behind the scenes. So the poll is skills management approach. What is your current approach to skills management? There's a multiple choice there. Please do stick down what you're currently doing so we can get a good idea, and we'll reveal the results shortly. We'll just give you 30 seconds to answer that. Wonderful. Looks like we can show the results. Great. So results are in. We have got most of you using Excel or some other system, a couple using skills management software, and some of you are currently not managing your skills. Well, let's hopefully show you something mind-blowing today then. And we're going to kick off this webinar. And the aim of the webinar today is to show you the difference of skills management in Excel compared to AG5. So all of you are using Excel. You're going to have your minds blown today by our lovely Weiss. And speaking of Weiss, would you like to give yourself a quick intro?
Yes, thank you, Jen. So, hi everyone, my name is Weiss and I'm the head of customer success at AG5, leading implementations basically at a similar type of organization as you guys, large and small organizations. And today I will be demonstrating the software to you guys.
Fabulous. And excuse me, I am Jen and I am an account executive here at AG5. So anything sales related, you can come to me and we'll do a little bit of a mine's gone blank, but we're going to give you my details so you can get in touch with me at the end.
Yes.
Moving on, Weiss, over to you.
Yes. So in this session, it's a 60-minute session. Feel free to also ask questions anytime during the demonstration of it. And we'll take some moments to pause and answer your questions. The session will be recorded and sent to you afterwards. So no worries if you can't attend the full session. So what we want to start first with our organization itself. We have a mission, and that is basically to help companies visualize and close their skill gaps by clearly mapping their workforce skills and competencies. As you can see on the right side, we do that with our software, and we have helped many different organizations in different industries to basically visualize and close their skill gaps. We have different capabilities. Some of them today we will demonstrate. So the agenda of today is to highlight the challenges many organizations have in managing employee skills in Excel. From those challenges, we will dive into the skills management in Excel compared to AG5. We will demonstrate the challenge you have when you manage in a certain way skills in Excel, and we will show you how you can achieve the same doing it in AG5. Also, we will then go into an example case, a success story of ArcelorMittal, how we have helped them solve those challenges with AG5. And finally, of course, we will end with the topic, basically, how we can help you, your organization with these challenges. So going towards the challenges. So challenges of managing employee skills, basically skills management in Excel, is that many organizations start with Excel and through the course of time, they outgrew Excel because they had more and more data. They increased in employees, they increased in training requirements, training compliance that need to meet, they need to met. So they eventually had multiple files shared with different stakeholders, many people working in the same file, which increased the human error. And all those Excel sheets, of course, have their challenges when you need to update your employee skills. Whenever they have done a training, it's not anymore updated, the skills matrix. So then you need to update it. And also when you update it, you have another challenge, which is tracking historical data in Excel. How can you do that? How can you ensure whenever there is an audit that you can show historically that someone was compliant in the past and still is compliant? That is a challenge, especially if you have a workforce of hundreds of employees. So also there was a need for automation and skills management based on training requirements, because you can have regulatory requirements or quality requirements or operational requirements. Managing all of those different requirements to meet your compliance standard is challenging using Excel. So these are mainly the challenges that many of organizations experience while using Excel. And we will show you today basically how it is done in Excel, in the different parts of Excel, the capabilities of Excel we will highlight that is used for skills management compared to AG5, and how you can do the same in AG5. So what are we going to demonstrate today? What are the topics that we will touch on? Is basically how we can create a skills matrix, both in Excel and AG5. How can you add a training or an assessment result, as well as in Excel, as well as in AG5. How you can track previous training in Excel and in AG5. How you can update a training or a skill requirement, basically the regulatory requirements you have, the quality, the operational requirements that you have. How can you manage that in Excel and AG5? How can you add a new employee? How can you assign multiple roles to someone? And of course, the most important one is how can you avoid skill gaps, which we help organizations to stay compliant, to be audit proof, and to avoid production interruptions in your organization because of training issues. So this is what we are going to demonstrate today. So what I'll do now is, let me see. I will switch over to my Excel, which we have created. So this is, by the way, a reminder. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in any moment of the demonstration. So what we'll start with is basically the skills matrix. This is a matrix that that many organizations in a similar format also have to manage the skills of their employees. By the way, if you need skills matrices, you can download also skills matrices from our website as templates to explore how this is done by in Excel. But this is an example matrix where you can see all the certifications that is required basically for this team. You can see on the y-axis all the employees, first name, last name. You will see the different roles that all of these employees are categorized in, and you can see that they are part of production team 5. And in the middle, you see all the training results, basically. So each person has a particular level for a particular certificate achieved, and that is all mapped within the middle of the matrix. And in the same way here below, you can see all the required amount of employees they need and the amount of employees that have achieved those quantities and what the gap currently is. So this is a typical skills matrix that organizations use to map their basically skills of their employees. And what is interesting is when they want to create a skills matrix in Excel again, the reasons could be if you change this, you won't have the snapshot, the previous snapshot. And the other reason is maybe we have production team 5, but let's create a new one for production team 4. And how that is done in Excel is basically by copying it again. So we'll just quickly copy the Excel and we'll say this is the matrix for team 4. And of course, what we need to do is maybe team 4 don't have all this same qualifications. We need to update this. Of course, all the codes we need to update, and we need to update all the links also. So what we also need to do is update all of these employees. This also needs manual update from an Excel. These needs to be updated, and all of these don't apply also, and the required doesn't apply. The roles maybe apply, and this becomes team 4 basically. And now what we need to do is basically put in all the qualifications that are relevant for team 4 and all employees. And many organizations, what they do is manually work with experts from the HR system, or they open their HR system, they update everything here, and then they have a matrix again. So this is how you can do that, of course, in Excel. And going to AG5, our software, this is AG5. So now I will demonstrate this exact same thing, how you can achieve that in AG5. In AG5, if we want to create it for another team, what we can do is we can create a new matrix via the software itself. We can select, okay, we want to create a new matrix for a production team 4, as we said. And we want to select which qualification from the library. We'll select, let me see, all the certificates. We'll go next. We'll call it production team 4 matrix. And voila, we have a production team 4 matrix now created for team 4. This is an example of how matrices can be created in AG5 easily, because the employees are already there. How come? Now, well, you have probably an integration with your HR system that synchronize all your employees already here. You have all your certifications already there, your trainings, your skills, your competencies. How come? We have probably an integration with your learning management system. So this is why you can easily and quickly create a matrix and then share it with Team 4's manager, for example. So after having a matrix for production team 4, we can of course proceed with adding results. So now we're going to focus, we will go back to our matrix and we will go back to the initial matrix, production team 5. In the production team 5 matrix, what we'll do is we'll open it up also in AG5. So we have created exactly the same one in AG5. It is all those certificates and all those team managers, assembly operators, as you can see, with all their results. And what typically happens in Excel is when, for example, we go to John Cho. So let's say that John Cho has done a new training for, let me see, for certified welding. And if John Cho has done a training, so first thing that we'll do is type in 4. John Cho has achieved level 4. And the other thing that we need to do, of course, is when John Cho has done level 4, he has received a certificate, which we now downloaded. And then we need to go to our folder structure to save for John Cho his certificate in his own folder. So we'll save that also. Now we have saved the document here. We have updated it also in Excel. Now the Excel is updated completely. And this is basically done in Excel. Now we'll do the same also in AG5. So we'll try to find John Cho. Let's see, where is John Cho? Here's John Cho for the certified welding indeed. We'll select that one. Indeed, there is still level too low. Indeed, he needs level 3, but he needs level 4 is required because of his role. He has level 3, so let's just add a result. He has achieved indeed level 4. Well done. Let's quickly select his training certificate from production team 4. No, production team 5. Assembly operator, no, let me see. Welding operator, yeah. Oh, let's see. John Cho, yeah, John Cho. And let me see an example one. We'll just select. We have selected the attachment as an example. We'll save it. And now John Cho has been saved and the result is there with the comment and attachment. So this is how you can do it in AG5. So there's no folder structure, there's no matrix overwriting, and there is a central place to save attachments. So basically it's audit proof, because if we take a look at John's profile and then take a look at certified welding, we can directly see here the certificate, we can see the achieved level, who has added, and also who added the results, and also all the past, the history, we can also see. So basically, this is how we add results in AG5. But the problem we encounter when adding a new result for John Cho in Excel is where that we need to record also that he had level 3. So we create a new tab, which we see across the industry that many managers do for managing their skills in Excel, is they have a separate tab where they record for each employee basically when they have achieved a certain level and the expiry date. So in this example, we also record that John Cho has achieved a particular this is the qualification or the certificate that John Cho has achieved. So we'll record that too. We don't have the link to the SharePoint. It's today is 29/11/2023. It's achieved level 4, and automatically it gets the expiry date. So this is how we record the history. So so this is how we can basically track the history of John Cho whenever there is an audit or there is a need to prove that John Cho is compliant. In AG5, that is not needed, as I just showed you, because in AG5, John Cho, if we go to the profile, you can clearly see all the whole profile of John. You can see all of his achieved certificates. You can see all the past in the past when he had the training, when there was a retraining with the attachment, and also we have an attachment tab where you can see all his direct attachments, all the personal stuff, the CV, the medical card or job description, and all of his attachments added to each training, basically, you can see also here in an overview. So this is what easily allows you to track the history of John without having complex folder structures or having 2 sheets to manage within Excel. So that is basically how, from our perspective, you can easily track the history of your employees when there is an audit to show that to an auditor, for example. I will take a moment if there are any questions. Jen, are there any questions yet?
Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to take a breath there, Weiss. So I do have a question for you. There's a few in the chat, but I'll just shoot one over that might be quite relevant to what you're talking about now. So how does, if you have somebody who is doing one of the skills in a classroom and there's a signature required, how is that going to be shown in AG5?
That is a good question. When there's a signature required, what we also have is AG5 has a app that organizations use. And with that app, they can basically, the trainer or the manager that provides the training at the shop floor, for example, what they can do is they can open the app at the achieved level, and then, of course, also ask for the signature from an employee that will save directly in the profile of an employee via the app, basically.
Fantastic. And along with that, just another question, and then I'll let you continue. Is it possible to add in different types of documentation into AG5? So, for example, a video.
Yes. So if you have, for example, for your certification, qualification, or whatever type of qualification or skill you have, you can add basically attachments to it so that it is specifically specific for that certification, in this case, Certified Quality Inspector. You can add links to it that it could link you to your own SharePoint environment. Whether it's videos, whether it's documents, whatever type of format of files you want to attach, everything is possible.
Excellent.
Yes. Okay, then we'll proceed with the training requirements. So we'll go back to Excel. And then what we'll do is, one second. We go back to Excel and we go to the requirements tab. What we see across the industry also is that many organizations have also their requirements that they need to manage. They have regulatory standards they need to meet. They have quality standards they need to meet. They have operational standards, safety standards, any type of standard. So what we see is many organizations create requirements matrices where you can see all these certifications, trainings, or skills against all the job roles, for example. This can be, of course, job roles, but these are what we also see, machines or workstations. So in Excel, what we'll do, what you can do, and what we see that they do is basically define what is required for a welding operator, what level is required to achieve for a welding operator for certified welding. Now we here see level 2. But we also, if we have another role, then we can define also another role. Let's just quickly, for example, let's say we have a main operator. That's a new one, and it doesn't work on a specific machine. And then what we can define is we can say that this needs to achieve level 4 for this certificate, level 4, 3, and 4, and then also 4, and then also 2, and then also 1. This is how you manage your requirements. And then, of course, some organizations, we haven't done it in this Excel, but what you can do is link these requirements to your matrix so that you can see different colors. So whenever someone is meeting that level or is not meeting that level. But basically, it still comes down that you need to manage those requirements in Excel. Imagine having these different type of Excel sheets for different type of teams. All of those Excel matrices, you need to ensure that all those formulas are correct, especially if there are turnover in terms of employees. You need to update all of them. So there is a human error risk that comes with it. So in AG5, what you can do is, going back to AG5, is to organization. And what you can do is you can go to roles and requirements, for example. We have different organization structures. We'll open a specific role, for example, let's say assembly operator. Then we can see everyone who is an assembly operator. Here we can see all the training requirements. So what we'll say, what we can do in AG5 is as Lego, easy as Lego, by dragging and dropping, for example, a specific certificate. So let's search for a specific certificate. Then we'll see level this one, the fourth one. We'll drag and drop at the assembly operator. That has been added now as a training requirement. Now we see that this is a training requirement. Actually, we don't want them to achieve level 1. The assembly operator is required to achieve level 3. So this is how easy you can manage the requirements within AG5. Whether it's based on a role, whether it's based on a workstation, different workstations if you have, you can define training requirements. Whether it's machines, you can define that. So all of these workstations have their requirements. All of these machines have their requirements. You can all define it the way you want. So this is how easy you can define those in Excel, and you can go granular as you want in different levels. That is possible because, of course, you can even make multiple hierarchies within AG5. That if someone works at a machine, that needs to at least be able to operate another machine. That is all possible in AG5. So this is basically how you can also manage your requirements within AG5 compared to Excel. This removes the risk of error, it removes the needs or to have separate documentation across your organization. Imagine if you imagine having global requirements and you have 20 locations globally. How are you able to ensure that if you define that for a specific workstation, which is available across your location, across the globe, how can you ensure that everybody knows that they need to achieve level 3 for this workstation? That is possible with AG5. You just have to define it once, and you are certain that it will be available across your organization. So that is how you can basically manage your requirements in AG5. So another challenge that we see organizations have is basically if there are new employees. So let's say we have a new team manager. And if we have a team manager who is part of production team 5, what you can do is, of course, in Excel, you need to then create a new role, and then add all the details of it, and then again proceed with adding the results. If they have any results, you can add it in this way. So this is how you can add it. And if someone is, for example, on leave, of course, you can't manage that here. But what we see that they do is basically also having a separate sheet where they manage the leave of employees if they are on leave, for example. In AG5, what you can do is basically uh, um, create an employee easily. Of course, manually, what you can do, you can create a new employee, and then it will be synchronized. It will be added in the system, and it will be available automatically in the matrix. But also, what is possible, you can synchronize it with your HR system. Then you don't have to do anything. Automatically, the HR synchronization will synchronize your employees. So let's say if Isabella is a new employee, when they are registered in your HR system, automatically they will be visible in the system with, for example, as we see for Rachel Lee, you'll see that there is no results, only summary requirements. This is an example of a new employee. This is how it becomes visible. So with an integration with your HR systems, you don't have to do it, but without an integration, you can manually, of course, add it in AG5. Still, that removes all the human error within your Excel sheets.
I'm just going to interrupt you, Weiss, because we have a question that relates to this. Same, but what happens if somebody leaves the organization?
Yeah, that's a good question. When somebody leaves an organization, if you have a synchronization with your HR system, automatically we can the contract period will be updated. Unless, for example, if they are on temporary leave, of course, we have also the ability to also synchronize that information in AG5, and that person will be, that profile of that individual will be updated in AG5. They will become invisible during their absence, and after when they're back, they will be again visible. So that is possible with the synchronization in this way, but without synchronization, of course, you have the ability manually to update that data to ensure that you only see the employees when they are actually working.
Perfect, thank you.
I see another question. How many users or administrators can make changes at the same time for certifications? As many as you want. So basically, it depends on how many users and administrations you want to give them the rights to be able to do that within the system, because you can define the users what type of rights they can have within AG5. So then whether they are allowed to update data or not, it's up to you basically, Danielle, how you want to organize it. And sorry if I butchered your name, Danielle. Does that answer your question? Great. So if there are no other questions, I will move on. So what is also a challenge, what we also discussed to cover today, is if employees, for example, have multiple roles. If we go, take a look at Matthew. If we go, for example, to Matthew, and we see that Matthew has different requirements that of the certifications or competencies that needs to be achieved. Matthew is currently a team manager. What is also possible in AG5 is you can easily edit the position of Matthew and say, well, he's not only a team manager, he recently was also an assembly operator. That is, in this way, easily to add in AG5. And also he is another type of operator. Oh, he is also a welding operator, because there's, I don't know, a need that he also needs to jump in and do that work also. Basically, you can add those tags to his profile, and automatically the system understand now, because of those additional roles, concurrent roles this person has, it requires also to achieve certain certificates. This one has 11 requirements, this role 7 requirements and 10 requirements. In the whole system, this will be available. And if we go back even to his profile, suddenly we see at Matthew's profile that he has more requirements. And this is visible through the blue border in the AG5 system, or the red indication that is something required. So this is how you can add multiple roles to an employee. But let's imagine that you need to manage that also in your matrix in Excel. How is that possible? Well, basically you need to, if Matthew, which we see Matthew Park here, we need to basically copy and then add again Matthew Park, the same Matthew Park here. So you can already imagine what type of challenge you would have if Matthew, if you need to update the data of Matthew. So if you updated that he achieved here 4, do you need to then update also here for? Yes, you need to update, but how are the requirements then visible? That is also something then you need to take into account in Excel. That increases the complexity of data, managing data in Excel. So this is basically how you can add and manage multiple roles. But having done all of those things, what is important next to managing all of those skills via the matrix over the profiles of employees, you want to avoid skill gaps. And the first, of course, way to do that is basically visually seeing the compliance and then managing that. I see a question.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in there, Weiss, and you beat me to it. But Ellen has asked, are email alerts sent to notify employees and colleagues for training reminders? Also, is there a chart or graph to show results?
That is a good one because basically in the system, based on those requirements, we have the alert list, which gives you a visual indication when there are problems within your system. Then you can see basically in the alert list. But also what we also have is, let me go to the next slide. We have, of course, workflows that you can configure in AG5 when qualifications, certificates are expired, missing, or soon are going to be expired, for example, 3 months upfront or 6 months upfront, you can send an email to an employee, to a manager, or others. But you also have the ability to, so you can send an email to inform people upfront or when something is expired by email, or you can see it visually. Do we have graphs and charts to see that see also compliance? Not yet. We do have that in development as we are now demonstrating this. So in the next quarter, we expect to have those graphs and dashboards within the software itself. Besides that, what we have the ability also already is the Advanced Analytics API that allows you to pull all the data from the AG5 system to include that into your current analytics dashboards that you have. So we have 2 solutions. One is the API, which is currently available, and one is the in-app dashboards that we are currently developing, which will be available probably next quarter, but that needs to be confirmed. Does that answer the question, Alan? Yes, you're welcome. So proceeding with the goal of avoiding skills gaps, as I've highlighted, and thank you, Alan, for your question, which was related to the final topic of today, is via the alert list. Of course, you can see all the gaps in your organization. You can fine tune it based on the filters you have and based on the searches that you can do. You can basically filter and search based on any type of data that you have in AG5. But a strong capability of the alert list is that you can even take a look ahead. So in the next 1 year, we would like to know, for example, so next 1 year, we would like to know which certificates are going to be expired or will be missing. So you can forecast already what issues you will have in the next year. And even you can fine tune it and say between a specific date, you would like to know what training you need to plan. And you can clearly see what training are missing or expired that you need to manage upfront. Going back to our webinar slides, let me go into full screen again. So we have discussed how you can create easily skills matrices in Excel versus AG5. We have shown you how you can add a training and assessment in Excel. which with the challenges that it brings, and also compared to AG5 with the opportunities that it brings. We showed you also how you can track previous trainings and assessments, how you can also track everything on an employee level, basically, and how you can update requirements in Excel and manage it in Excel and also in AG5 easily by dragging and dropping requirements, how you can add new employees, which majority of time can be done with a synchronization with HR, which it makes these completely obsolete, and also how you can add multiple roles to an employee, and basically how you can avoid skill gaps by automation or the alert list in our system. And that brings us to the end of our demonstration. And now what we want to highlight is these functionalities, capabilities are currently being used by ArcelorMittal. This is a client that we have helped basically with AG5. It's a $79 billion steel and mining company. They have 158,000 employees across 108 locations in 16 countries. So before AG5, they had 4 to 5 systems where they had to extract all the data, including SAP, e-learning, and multiple Excel spreadsheets. Basically, they needed all these systems to manage the skills of their employees. So what they basically were searching for, a visually outstanding skills matrices and an affordable and user-friendly solution. They wanted to simplify the training process. They want to have backups so that they can stop using their legacy systems, and also so that they can meet their ISO certification requirements related to staff and job planning, the training progress demonstration they want, and also they wanted to track their qualifications. We have helped them actually with their businesses with AG5. As I have mentioned, they are using the Advanced Analytics API. They have their global language support also. We have multiple languages in our software. They are even using it to translate the content of their qualification, the names of their qualification, or the descriptions. They use our app in their iPads to manage it on the floor, so that they can, when the manager does an assessment, they're using our approvals and automated matrices for capability, so that you can automatically generate matrices for your managers, so you can remove that completely manually. So let me see, before I move on, I see a question, is there an area to explain what each skill level means inside the matrices? In example 1 to 4. Thank you, Alan, for your question. I will finish the ArcelorMittal, then I'll jump quickly to AG5, and I will show you how you can achieve that. So ArcelorMittal, we have basically helped with AG5, and one of the things that they have said about it, which you can, by the way, guys, also read in our blogs, it's what's more, AG5 would be a godsend in the event of an industrial accident, because it would allow us to demonstrate to the authorities, if it were to get that serious, that the staff member in question was fully trained for the job he or she was performing at the job. So basically, this is they don't have to worry that they can't show that to authorities when someone has had an accident, that they were qualified or not. So this is how we have helped ArcelorMittal basically with their business needs. And before jumping to our other slides, you have asked about to explain what each skill level means. So that's an interesting question, because in AG5 we have the ability, we have the capability that you can define what each level means basically. So let me go to certified welding number 2. This is, so let's say this means this is the description of level 1 of this certified welding inspector. If we go to the matrix, you asked specifically about the matrix. If we go to, this is I think 2, yeah, add a result. So what you can see is, now you can see that I've added this description in level 1, and this is how it's visible, the meaning of this skill level. Does this answer your question, Alan? Yes, you're welcome, Alan. Thank you for your question. Let me see. So this is basically how you can do that. Before we move on, are there any other questions from anyone else?
I think you keep beating me to it, Weiss, but one question is, what is the difference between AG5 and an LMS?
That's a good question. Thank you for that one. So the difference is basically that the LMS focuses on the content of a training. It focuses that whenever an employee needs to do a training, they can reach out to an LMS, they can go to an LMS and do they conduct a training. And the difference between AG5 is AG5 is focused on training compliance, ensuring that everyone meets their required training or certificates. So basically AG5 is built on top of the data from HR and LMS to help the manager or the quality manager or the operational manager or the HR manager to understand if everyone is meeting the requirements. And the core difference of AG5 compared to LMS is that you can define requirements based on operational structures that is not available in your learning management system or in your HR system. That is a core difference between LMS and the AG5 system.
Perfect. Explained perfectly.
Thanks. So let me see. Are there any other questions? Okay. So we have come to our questions and polls. Can AG5 connect to LMS to track training results? Yes, Alan, thank you for your question. Definitely. We can connect with any type of LMS as long as that learning management system has a API or a connector, basically. So yeah, that is possible. What are the technical requirements to connect to other HR databases, Excel, SAP, or any other systems that contain skills and personal data? How does AG4 handle GDPR? We are GDPR compliant. We are certified. And besides that, technical requirements. Well, we have, of course, the APIs that we can use for that. We can connect with APIs. We have CSV connectors. We have a different type of solutions to connect, basically. But the specific technical requirements we have, for example, for SAP, we're also a partner with SAP. Because many organizations who uses SAP are basically also using us as an add-on to their SAP learning management system. So you can contact us for the technical requirements, but there is no connector that we can't make until now. I apologize if I may have missed it, but can you add fields to the employee setup? I'd like to track birthdays, anniversaries, or even annual benefits. Well, yes, we have also another capability, Steve. Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question, Greg, also. We have custom fields also, and you have the ability to define custom fields at an employee level or a skill level, where you can actually add additional data such as birthdays, anniversaries, or annual benefits. Any other questions, guys?
Looks like the questions are done.
Yes.
Oh, one more from Peter. I spoke too soon. Can AG5 connect to planning to make sure that qualified people are assigned to the jobs at hand?
Yes, we can also connect to planning. Basically, the use case that we have is that let me show you quickly. In AG5, when someone is meeting their requirements, we can communicate to your planning software basically the profile of Kian with the achieved qualification or trainings, or with the data basically if he meets the role requirements. That is possible. The question majority of time from our perspective is whether your planning software allows it to be connected with AG5.
And another question that's just come in, I hope that answered your question, Peter. Can you add timelines when trainings are assigned, for example, onboarding?
So basically in AG5, we have the ability that you can create a planning. Basically that you need employees to finish a specific training or achieve a certain level before a certain date. And that is possible basically. Any other questions?
Got one more question from Daniel. Can it connect to ADP payroll system, specifically in the US?
Yes, we can connect to ADP. We actually have connections with ADP. The majority of the time, it's whether the organization allows it or technically it is possible to connect with any other system. From a technical perspective, there is no system that we can't connect majority of the time.
Fab. And another one from Steve. Can you create templates for the planning, or does it need to be done one skill at a time like you just showed?
Well, we have a solution where you can define what is required whenever there is a new employee. Imagine having a new employee, and when that employee starts, automatically they will have required and missing qualifications that they need to do. You just once need to define what is required during onboarding. Automatically, that can trigger an email even that they need to, hey, welcome dear new employee. This is the trainings that you need to do. You can define basically the list of trainings that a new employee needs to do.
If any more questions pop up, we can answer them as we go, but we can also follow up with you. I do see that Larissa has posted a link in the chat regarding the ADP integration, so might be useful to have a look at as well. And I think we've come to our last poll. Larissa, if you would like to shoot that up on the screens. You've only really got one option here. Are you interested in trying out AG5? We would love to know if it is a yes or a yes. So please do give us an answer there. And we hope that you found the webinar interesting. And if you do want to reach out to us, my details are here. So it's just Jennifer with 2 N's at AG5.com. And yeah, feel free to shoot us over an email. Any questions, let us know. And we hope you've enjoyed the webinar. And thanks, Weiss. That was great.
Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Looking forward to see all of you guys in the implementations.